5. A 4-part text message. This is a big one. Okay, guys, I know this has been a hot topic of discussion dating back to the offseason, and especially this week, since it's officially Liberty Game Week. That said, I'm genuinely excited to have and see Freeze back in the vault. I know all the scandals, probations, and such, but the guy revived the program and brought a Sugar Bowl and 2 wins over the Tide. As an Ole Miss fan and alum, I am truly excited for this week, as this is my first game to attend since I graduated. And on a side note, hearing a Hugh Freeze interview made me that much more pumped and intrigued about this weekend. You are not alone in that sentiment. There are a lot of people that feel that way. There are a lot of people that are excited to see Hugh Freeze back on the sidelines at Vaught-Hemingway Stadium. There are a lot of people that are not. Guys, we talked about this a little bit this morning. I don't begrudge you your feelings one way or the other. If you're super excited about Hugh Freeze being back, good for you. If you are not, that's okay too. I honestly have trouble understanding how you can get to the point of, man, I can't wait to see this guy back on the field. But as we were talking about this morning, here's the reality. All of the stuff, and this gentleman references, lady or gentleman, whoever it is, references, I know about the scandals and the sanctions and the probations and all those things, but I can't wait to see him because, and the because is this. Hugh Freeze delivered probably the 3 most exciting days in Ole Miss football in the last 50 years. The win against Alabama in 2014 in Oxford, Katy Perry game day, CBS, blah, 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 field goal post down. There are a lot of people that say it's their favorite day in Ole Miss football history in the time that they've been alive. I wouldn't argue with you if you said it was. The following year in Tuscaloosa, with all that went into that crazy game in the win at Bryant-Denny. And then to the return to a Sugar Bowl for the first time in 40 years. All those are fair and valid reasons to be really excited about what Hugh Freeze did. Here's the trouble for me. I don't understand how you can say it was all worth it for those 3 moments. Cost the athletics department, when it was all said and done, somewhere between $30 and $40 million. Major NCAA probation. Oh, but he was exonerated. Well, got good lawyers, I guess.
The program got 2 bowl bans. It was his programs. He wasn't exonerated at all. Not at all.
He did not get a show cause. Ole Miss missed the postseason in consecutive years. 2.
You know how rare that happens?
Penalties, financial penalties that are still happening, and put the program into a bit of a tailspin. Not a bit of a tailspin, into a massive tailspin. That, frankly, it still has not completely recovered from. And it's not just the NCAA stuff and the financial stuff that put it into a tailspin. His on-the-field coaching and recruiting at the end of his tenure put the program into a tailspin that it took a really long time to recover from. So, if you're okay with all of that, because by golly, beat Alabama twice and went to a Sugar Bowl, great. Look, man, I can look at this in a couple of different ways. He's a good football coach. I think he's a good football coach, period. Not comma, but, not comma, and. I think Hugh Freeze is a good football coach and did a lot of good things. Delivered some great moments. I'm not going to do it. Not going to do that. You're entitled to whatever feelings you want, whatever opinions you want. It's going to be kind of a weird vibe, I think, in the stadium on Saturday. I think you have people that'll boo. I think you have people that'll applaud politely. I think you'll have people that'll cheer like crazy and hold signs up and say, "I love you, Hugh! We miss you, Hugh!" I mean, I think it'll be all those things rolled into one.
At 11 a.m. in a stadium with 10,000 empty seats. And that's being conservative.
Richard, don't bring up the $30 to $40 million cost of Freeze. You have boosters who would pay $10 million for each of those moments. Okay, name them. Name them. Because the list of boosters at Ole Miss that have ever written a single check for $10 million, to my knowledge, is one, as it pertains to athletics specifically. I may be wrong about that. But for a really, really, really long time, the list of boosters that had written a check to Ole Miss Athletics for $10 million was one, and his name was Doc Hollingsworth. Now, it's possible that in recent years, somebody else has written a check for $10 million to athletics. A single check. And you tell me that there are boosters, many of them, who would write a check for $10 million for one of those moments while watching the program spin down the freaking toilet for the next 5 years. Who are they? Because I know Keith Carter would love to meet those people who are willing to write checks to Ole Miss Athletics for $10 million.
Feels like you're angry.
Again, Hugh Freeze did some good things. Won some big football games. Good football coach. All of it. And then he ran the program into a ditch. Cost him dearly. What do you, he walked away from $16 million.
Somebody tell us to move on. Like, they're playing this weekend, guy.
The move on text that we get is more anger-inducing than anything else we've gotten.
Like, this is the story. The return of Hugh Freeze.
I don't know if you know this or not, but Hugh Freeze is going to be on the other sideline at Vaught Hemingway Stadium this week. This week. It's kind of part of the story.
It is the story. Returns to the program he destroyed.
Our text line is just on fire today, man. The guys are they're bringing good stuff.
Can't blame Freeze for Luke being a bad coach.
You can blame Freeze for the roster that he had to take over. And Matt Luke's, for all of his faults, and he had a lot of them, one of them being uber conservatism as a coach, not politically. My gosh. Coach terrified. Made just the most conservative decisions possible. He didn't know he was going to be the head coach of his team in his first year until July.